Alright, so this is S900 12-bit sampler. Pretty cool. You know, you can get some lo-fi kind of gritty stuff going on out of it there. You record sounds with you know, the record button here, and then you got to name your sound. It's like the first thing it tells you to do. And every time you record a new one, you got to hit the little letter button over here and change the sound. Otherwise, you're going to record over what you just had on there. As you scroll down a couple of ways here, you can set the sample rate. It tells you 3,000 to 16,000, which actually means 4K to 40K. I don't really know why the hell it's like that, but it is. And then as you go down more, you can set the sample time and just some other basic shit that you just use to sample on a hardware sampler. So once you got all your samples kind of in there, what you got to do is assign them to programs. And if you've ever used an MPC or something, you know what a program is. It's how you assign different sounds to different notes. So basically, each program consists of a series of key groups, which is on page 3 here. If you scroll over a couple of times so that your cursor's down here, you can add key groups by hitting the plus button here. So if you have 5 samples, you're probably going to want to add 5 different key groups. Or, you know, whatever the hell you want to do. You can set a key group as big or as small as you want. If you have a piano sample, you might want to set it to 2 or 3 octaves to get some pitch change out of it. But if you're using a kick or a snare, you might just want to set it to 1 note. And that's what you do on page 5 here. You set the key group, and you know, you can scroll through each of your key groups, and you can set the different samples to each key group. So let's go up here and add a key group. And come down here and let's see what's going on. And then we'll change this to different sample. And then we'll set this sample to low note 36. High note 36, so therefore it's only playing on 1 key. What it actually is a kick drum that I have set to note 36. So really, when you look at key group 2, I have another one set to 37. That's a snare sample. And key group 1 I have as a hi-hat sample set to 38. So basically I have 3 key groups, 3 samples. Each one of them is set to just 1 note. This is all in the edit program. You're just going to have to fish around with this and see how it works. So what you do here is you come over to your MIDI program, whatever it is. I have Ableton going here, and you set the MIDI input to come from your MPD or your MIDI controller, and you turn on your monitor, and then you actually have to set the MIDI output of this track to be going out the output of your MPD 24. There's a MIDI output on the back of that, and you take a MIDI cable, connect that over to the input on your S900 so that it actually receives MIDI information. Now the S900, when it's getting the MIDI information, you'll see this little light right here start to flicker red, and that's how you know you got a good connection. So like I said, I have the kick drum assigned to note 36, the snare on 37, and the hi-hat on 38. So and just it's a lot more fun with 2 hands, but what are you going to do, you know? So once you got that type of thing, that's how you can play it live. But normally you would have a MIDI track and you would just have a piano roll editor down here at the bottom. I'm sure you've seen that before, where you kind of place the notes on the MIDI track, and you know, all you got to do is just remember the math. You know, C3 is note 60, C2 is note 48, C1 is note 36. So if you do that and you place the notes just like you would, you know, on your MIDI sequencer here, and you take off your monitor so that this MIDI track accepts data from the computer and not the MIDI controller. got 8 note. It can play 8 notes at once, so it's not going to run out of notes. And again, it's got we got several outputs on the back there. Each one of those key groups can be assigned to a different output. That's all in the edit program section on the S900. Just scroll up and down those screens. You'll figure it out. It's really not that bad. So yeah, I mean, you know, we just got this thing pumping here. Let's go ahead and add a little something to it here. So that's basically how you use the S900 in a nutshell. I mean, it's not really any different than some sort of quasi module you might have in your audio program. It's just real, and all you got to do is just kind of understand you know, how to get something on a MIDI channel to a MIDI channel, and you know, that just takes a little reading online. But really, I mean, it's cool, you know, because like I said, all them different outputs, it gives you some room on your mixer to kind of get down with the faders, and you know, not have to pre-program any volume movements or whatever. So that's how we roll on an S900.